Now, how many of you know where Texas is? It's a country near the United States. And as the chairman said, I used to be a judge in Texas for 22 years. And now I'm a member of the House of Representatives and chairman of the Subcommittee on Terrorism, Non-Proliferation, and Trade in the Foreign Affairs Committee. My comments are my comments. I don't represent the House of Representatives. I represent myself and my comments to you. Chairman Rohrbacher gave you a little bit of American history lesson. But I want to mention some history that you probably have never heard of before. And that's a little Texas history. It is really different than American history. Because in the area that is now Texas, there were people of several nationalities living in that area back in 1836. They were part of the country of Mexico. Stay with me on this. They were part of the country of Mexico, but Mexico eliminated the Constitution because a new dictator came into play. It was a democracy, but a dictator took over, and you know what the dictator did? He abolished human rights and the Constitution. So, I'll wait for the disturbance to go. So, people in Texas of several nationalities decided they wanted their own independent country and had a revolution against Mexico. This included people of several races. Texas won that revolution, similar to the American Revolution. And Texas was an independent country for 9 years. All because of oppressive government and the denial of government to give basic human rights to people who lived in Texas. And then later, Texas joined the United States and became a state in the United States. But you see, the history of where I come from is the history of people throughout the world when they've had enough of oppression by government. And they try to have their own government that represents freedom. I believe in human rights. As a judge, I believe in justice. Justice must occur everywhere in the world. And justice is based upon the way government treats the people that live in the country. And if the people are denied basic human rights, the right of self-determination, then that, in my opinion, denies those people justice. Now, the chairman has made some comments about Pakistan. Pakistan, in my opinion, oppresses its own people. One group of several are the Baloch, oppressed, denied basic human rights by government. In the House last year, we tried to eliminate American foreign aid to Pakistan. We were successful in passing legislation, the chairman and myself and other members, of reducing 25% of the aid that goes to Pakistan. Because in my opinion, much of the American aid that goes to Pakistan is not used for the people. It's used by the government, specifically the military, to oppress the people. And some of that money, in my opinion, ends up in the hands of the enemies of the world, the Taliban, and is used against people who believe in freedom, including Americans. So, that passed the House. The Senate never voted on it. We will see if we can do that again this year. But I don't think that it's wise to support regimes that use money, foreign aid, to suppress the people that are there. So, as I said, I speak only for myself. I've learned a lot about the Baloch community. I've met with folks in Texas. Yes, there are Baloch in Texas. they have found the wonderful land of Texas, and talk to them about the issues that concern you, which is human rights being denied by government. And so we will do what we can to work with you, to bring your voice on a world stage, to show what's taking place, the oppression that you and your families have undergone, and hopefully the world will recognize that the Pakistan government is the one that should be held accountable for oppressing its own people. Thank you for letting me be here. Thank you.
One more thought. I noticed that the judge and I focused on Pakistan, and the reason we were is because it's even more sinful that the United States is giving money and providing weapons to the government of Pakistan, which then uses it to kill good and decent people who are just demanding their rights. So that makes that bad. So we mentioned Pakistan and focus. But that doesn't mean that we're leaving out Iran.
That's right. That's right.
We want the Baloch who come from Iran to know that we are just as committed to a freedom and self-determination for the Baloch who now live under the thumbs of an oppression of the Iranian Mullah regimes. And that will, Your Honor, I think that will be an easier sell for us to support the Baloch in Iran, because of course the Baloch in Iran declared the United States their enemy. I mean, this is the Baloch in Iran, the mullahs in Iran.
Mullahs in Iran, not the Baloch.
Not the Baloch,
They're our friends.
The mullahs in Iran declared themselves our enemy. And we should be helping those Baloch in Iran who are struggling for their independence. It's in our interest. It always has been in our interest for the last 30 years. So we should be basically asking our fellow congressmen, why is it that even people who declare themselves our enemy, we don't help the people who are struggling for freedom in their countries? And in Pakistan, which tried, has been pretending to be our friends, well, maybe there's some excuse there. But for those of you who have families in Iran, please don't think that we are in any way less committed to your cause than that of the Baloch in Pakistan. What we'd like to see is a free Balochistan that includes those people in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and in Iran. Finally, at some point. Thank you all very much. I guess maybe we have time.
Thanks for being over here, Congressman. I just wanted to,
Your Highness, whatever.
for me, you said everything, just a cup of tea, and I wanted you to meet some of our